Hello, test takers. Welcome back to Exam Prep Solutions. And today we're going to get into some more FE practice problems. We've got some conceptual problems today. As you know, on the FE exam, there are plenty of conceptual problems. Some of them you can use the manual to figure out. Some of them you just kind of have to know the answer. And that's a very annoying part. That's why the prep for the FE exam starts when you're in college or taking your courses, not just when you exit, because there's a lot of information that you need to learn over a long period of time to be able to memorize, continue to practice with, and then solidify. We have a free guide, how to solve any FE exam problem in 5 steps. It's free. You can find it in the description box down below. Just tell us where to send it. Anyways, let's get into it. We've got 2 conceptual problems here. They're transportation themed. We've got one involving driver height and one involving horizontal curve. So let's just get into this one. So this one states the driver's eye height, according to AASHTO, is assumed to always be. Now, when it comes to these kinds of conceptual problems, a lot of the times you have to sort of know the answer going into it. It's not going to be apparent, and maybe the answer might not even be in the FE manual or FE handbook. So it's something that you need to learn in college. However, you can use your logic to deduce maybe, okay, what could this be based on the answers given? What seems not so logical? And then maybe narrow it down to a few answers and give yourself a better chance, because you're not going to know everything on the exam. That's just unrealistic. It covers too many topics to know exactly every kind of problem they're going to ask. So that's okay. It's just knowing how to deal with a problem that you may not have the best background knowledge on and give yourself the best chance of getting the correct answer through a guess. So this problem, again, the driver's eye height, according to AASHTO, is assumed to always be. Let's narrow this down for a second here. So our answers are 3 feet, 3 meters, 3.5 feet, or 3.5 meters. Okay. Let's think about the driver's height for a second. So you're sitting in a car, right? So you're sitting down, and what is most likely going to be the height of your eyesight? Think about 3 meters for a second. How high is 3 meters? Now, if you don't live in the US, 3 meters, you can imagine it. But in the US, that's close to 9, maybe 10 feet. Is your eye height when you're driving 10 feet high? Maybe if you're driving a really, big truck or something, but generally overall, it's not going to be 9 feet high. Think about 3.5 meters, right? It's not going to be 3.5 meters. That's almost close to 11 feet. So we know it's not these 2 answers. So we know that it's either A or C. And so now we're kind of in a guessing phase. And you would either put A or C. Now, I know this from the AASHTO Green Book involving transportation engineering. I know that 3.5 feet is actually the value that they use. But if you didn't know that, using some logic, using your test taking strategies, you could determine that it was either 3 or 3.5 feet. And you would be able to put forward a decent guess. Would you get it right? Maybe. You had a 50-50 shot, right? But that's much better than going, oh, I completely don't know this answer. I'm just going to put C for every. Now, in this case, C was the answer. Or I'm just going to put B or D for every answer for something I don't know and just hope I get a certain amount right. I'm not a big fan of that strategy. I like taking an educated guess if possible. Now, if you just completely don't know, you're just completely clueless and there's no way from the problem to deduce what it is, then yeah, you got to go with a guess, a complete guess. And I do suggest picking one letter if you had to completely random guess to use. But most of the time, 95% of the time, make some form of educated guess. It's better than just making that random guess. But if you do have to make a random guess, pick one letter. Maybe it's 5 or 6, 7 problems that you had to randomly guess at. Pick C for all of them, and you might get a few there. You might get lucky. So that's what I would do for this one. I knew the answer to this one, but we could kind of deduce based on our logic here and how high 3 and 3.5 meters are. That was either going to be A or C. So now let's get to this problem here. The equation to find the station of the PT of the horizontal curve if the PI and T are given is what? So this is kind of an interesting problem here. Now, this is another kind of conceptual problem that can be on the FE exam. And this involves basically you can solve this problem using information from the FE handbook, but it's not exactly apparent what you're going to need. Like you can piece the things together, but it's going to be in its own style, right? You're not putting in numbers or anything like that and getting a definitive answer. So let's think about this here. Let's go through each equation and see if it applies. So we have the PI and T given to us. So we have these values, and from those values that were given, we need to find what the station of the PT is. So A is PI plus T. Now, on first hand, it may seem, oh, that's exactly what the station is. Remember, that's not exactly the process for finding PT, right? We actually need to go through a different process in order to find the PT. So we know it's not A. Now B is PC plus L. Well, theoretically that would work, but we don't have the value of PC yet. So it's not going to be B. Same thing with C, PC plus 2T. That's not how you add it up. D is PI minus T plus L. This is the correct equation, and this utilizes what we have given to us, also adding L into it, to get us the station of the PT. So in this case, it would be answer D. So those are two kinds of conceptual questions that you can get on the FE exam. One where it's just straight up conceptual knowledge that you need to know, but we can use logic to narrow it down. The second one is a conceptual question where you're going to have to use some information in the FE handbook to get the answer, but it's not always going to be apparent where it is. So that's the answer to those problems. Let me know if you have any questions in the description down below. If there's any problems you'd like to see us do on the channel, then let us know in a comment. Otherwise, we'll see you guys in the next video.